The rain hammered Seattle's Pike Place streets like fists on a coffin lid, relentless and unforgiving, mirroring the storm raging inside me. I shoved through the restaurant door of that overpriced seafood joint, my blind date's sleazy grin still burning in my mind. Tyler, with his wandering hands and zero filter, turning what was supposed to be a fresh start into a nightmare of awkward propositions and forced laughs. My boots slapped against the wet pavement as I bolted, tears mixing with the downpour, whispering to myself that this was it, the final straw in a string of disasters that proved love was just a cruel joke played on guys like me. Then, in a collision that felt scripted by some sadistic fate, I slammed into a solid wall of muscle and warmth, arms wrapping around me like they were made for this exact moment of chaos. Strong hands steadied my shoulders, and when I looked up through the blur of rain and regret, there he was, Caleb Voss, the alpha I'd secretly pined for since our college days at the University of Washington, his dark eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that stole my breath. "Ryan," he murmured, voice low and gravelly like aged whiskey, pulling me closer as thunder cracked overhead, as if the universe itself was applauding this impossible reunion. I froze, heart slamming against my ribs, the world narrowing to the scent of his cologne. Pine and leather, unchanged from those late-night study sessions where I'd stolen glances while pretending to focus on textbooks. Caleb Voss, 6'3" of broad-shouldered confidence, with tousled black hair that always looked like he'd just rolled out of bed after conquering the world, and a jawline sharp enough to cut glass. Back in college, he was the star quarterback, the guy who commanded every room without trying, the one whose laugh could light up the gloomiest Seattle afternoon. And me? Ryan Hale, the quiet art major with paint under his nails and dreams too fragile to voice. I'd loved him from afar, nursing that ache like a hidden bruise. We'd been friends, sort of, shared coffees, late walks along the waterfront, conversations that veered too close to confessions but never crossed the line. Then graduation scattered us. Him to a high-flying finance job in the city, me scraping by as a freelance illustrator in a cramped Capitol Hill apartment, dodging bad dates like landmines. Now, here he was, holding me upright in the deluge, his wool overcoat shielding us both as water streamed down his face. "What the hell happened?" he asked, concern etching lines around his mouth that I itched to trace. I laughed, a brittle sound lost in the rain. "Terrible date. I thought getting to know you meant groping under the table. I just ran." His grip tightened, protective, possessive in a way that sent heat pooling low in my belly despite the chill. "Come on," he said, steering me toward his sleek black SUV parked curbside. "You're soaked. Let's get you dry before you catch pneumonia or something equally dramatic." I slid into the passenger seat, shivering as he cranked the heat and tossed me a towel from the back. The interior smelled like him, clean, commanding, and as he pulled into traffic, the wipers slashing rhythmically, I stole glances at his profile. Caleb had filled out since college, his shoulders straining against his shirt, a faint scar on his cheek from some adventure he never fully explained. He'd always been the alpha in every sense, leading our ragtag group of friends on hikes through the Cascades, making decisions that felt effortless, drawing people in like gravity. And I'd always been the satellite, orbiting, yearning for a pull that never came. Until now, maybe. We ended up at his place in Belltown, a loft overlooking the Sound that screamed success. Exposed brick walls, floor-to-ceiling windows fogging with condensation, abstract art that probably cost more than my yearly rent. He handed me dry clothes, soft gray sweats that hung loose on my slimmer frame, but carried his scent, making my skin tingle. "Make yourself at home," he said, disappearing into the kitchen to brew coffee. I wandered, fingers trailing over bookshelves lined with finance tomes and dog-eared copies of Kerouac, a photo of him with his sister in Montana catching my eye, her grinning beside a roaring campfire, him looking every bit the rugged protector. When he returned with mugs steaming, we settled on the leather couch, the city lights twinkling below like distant promises. "So," he prompted, settling too close, his knee brushing mine. "Tyler sounds like an ass. You deserve better, Ree." The nickname hit like a spark, old and familiar. I sipped the coffee, black, strong, and let the words tumble out. The loneliness of freelance life, the parade of flakes on apps, the way every date chipped away at the hope I'd buried deep. He listened, really listened, his gaze never wavering, and when I trailed off, he reached over, thumb brushing a stray droplet from my cheek. "I've missed this," he admitted softly. "Missed you." My pulse thundered. "You have." It came out smaller than I intended, vulnerable. He nodded, leaning in, the air thickening with unspoken history. More than you know. After graduation, I regretted not saying it. How I felt. His hand cupped my jaw, calloused from weekend rock climbing, and for a heartbeat, I thought he'd kiss me. But his phone buzzed. A work alert, he muttered, and the moment fractured. Still, as he silenced it, his eyes held mine, dark with intent. Stay tonight. No pressure. Just talk. Like old times. We did. Hours blurred into confessions over takeout Thai, his high-stakes job swallowing weekends, a string of casual flings that left him hollow, the family pressure back in Montana to settle down, with someone safe, someone not like us. Gay in a conservative ranch town had hardened him, he said, made him the alpha shield for everyone else while his own heart stayed locked. I shared my sketches, the ones I'd hidden, illustrations of ethereal men in stormy skies that mirrored my turmoil. His praise was quiet, genuine. These are you, raw and beautiful. By midnight, exhaustion pulled us to his bed, separate sides, but the space between felt charged, electric. Sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with rain and his touch. Morning light filtered through blinds, and I woke to the smell of bacon, him in the kitchen flipping strips with easy grace. Morning, run away, he teased, plating eggs. We ate on the balcony, Puget Sound stretching gray and vast, fairies cutting wakes like sighs. What now? He asked, fork pausing. I met his eyes, heart in my throat. I don't know, but this, us, feels like a start. He smiled, that slow, devastating curve, and pulled me into a hug that lingered too long to be platonic. Seattle's fog lifted, and for the first time in years, so did mine. But as he drove me home, dropping me at my building with a promise to text, doubt crept in. Was this real, or just a rainy night rescue? My phone pinged. Dinner tomorrow? No blind dates, just us. I grinned, typing yes. The alpha's pull stronger than ever. Little did I know, the storm we dodged was just gathering force. That dinner was a revelation, the kind that rewires your soul without warning. Caleb picked me up at 7 sharp, his SUV purring outside my walk-up like a sleek predator. He'd texted coordinates earlier. No restaurant, just trust me. And when we veered off I-5 toward Discovery Park, the city's edge giving way to trails lined with evergreens, I felt the shift. Seattle's wild heart, where urban grit met untamed green, and he knew it like his own veins. We hiked a gentle path as dusk fell, the air crisp with salt and pine, his hand brushing mine until it stayed, fingers lacing in a grip that said everything words hadn't. At a secluded overlook, he'd set up a picnic, blanket spread under string lights he'd rigged to a tree, thermos of mulled wine, charcuterie that looked gourmet, but he swore he'd assembled himself. No more running, he said, pouring for us, his voice threading through the wind. Not from bad dates. Not from this. We sat close, knees touching, and as the city skyline twinkled distant, he kissed me. It was slow, deliberate, his lips firm against mine, tasting of wine and want. My hands fisted in his jacket, pulling him nearer, the world dissolving to the heat of him, the way he groaned low when I nipped his bottom lip. Years of secret longing ignited, and when we broke apart, breathless, his forehead rested on mine. God, Ryan, I've wanted that since sophomore year. Confessions spilled then, under the stars, how he'd watched me sketch in the quad, mesmerized by the focus in my eyes, how he'd dated women to fit the mold, hating every second, how my quiet strength had always steadied him, even unspoken. Back at his loft, the kiss evolved into more, clothes shed in a trail to the bedroom, his body a map of hard plains and soft sighs. He was gentle at first, reverent, mapping my skin with lips and hands, whispering praises that made me arch and beg. But the alpha emerged in his rhythm, commanding yet attuned, drawing out my pleasure until I shattered, his name a prayer on my tongue. Afterward, tangled in sheets, his arm heavy across my waist, he murmured, "You're mine now, Ree. If you'll have me." I traced the scar on his cheek, heart full. Always have been. The next weeks blurred into a montage of stolen bliss. Mornings in his kitchen, me sketching while he reviewed spreadsheets, coffee brewing like an anchor. Afternoons wandering Fremont's quirky streets, his laughter booming at the troll sculpture, my head on his shoulder during indie films at the SIFF cinema. Evenings tangled on his couch, debating everything from climate policy to the best microbrew, his passion for sustainable finance mirroring my eco-art projects, forging bonds deeper than skin. He met my best friend Jordan over brunch at a Capitol Hill cafe. The three of us crammed into a booth slick with condensation. Jordan, with his sharp wit and rainbow pins, sized Caleb up over avocado toast. "So, you're the one who's been haunting my boy's dreams." Caleb just grinned, unfazed, squeezing my thigh under the table. "Guilty, and worth the wait." Jordan approved, later texting me, "He's a keeper. Don't fuck it up." But doubts lingered in quiet moments. His late nights at the firm, the way he'd tense at mentions of family visits. "Montana's complicated," he'd say, deflecting with a kiss. One rainy Saturday, we drove to his sister's cabin in the Olympics, a rustic A-frame nestled by Lake Crescent. She, Lena Voss, was a force, tall like him, with the same dark eyes, running an eco-lodge that hosted queer retreats. Finally, she hugged me fiercely on arrival. "Caleb's been mooning over you forever. Thought he'd never grow a pair." Over Esmores by the fire pit, stories flowed. His rebellious teen years coming out amid ranch hands who whispered slurs. My own closet days in high school Tacoma, hiding sketches of boys in lockers. Lena pulled me aside later, lake-lapping soft. "He's all in, Ryan. But alphas like him. They protect too hard. Don't let him push you away." That night, in the cabin's loft bed, with rain pattering the tin roof, we made love again, slower, deeper, his body covering mine like a vow. "I love you," he breathed against my neck, the words slipping free like a dam breaking. Tears pricked my eyes. "Love you too, Caleb." It felt like home, this alpha's arms my harbor after years adrift. But cracks showed subtly. A work call mid-hike, his voice sharpening to ice with a colleague, something about a merger gone south. He brushed it off, but I saw the shadows under his eyes deepen. Then, a package arrived at my door, art supplies from him, but inside, a note in unfamiliar script. "Thinking of you. T. Tyler, the bad date ghost." I laughed it off, but unease stirred. When I mentioned it casually, Caleb's jaw clenched. "Block him. He's not worth your energy." Possessive, yes, but laced with something sharper, jealousy, control. Still, the high carried us. He surprised me with tickets to a gallery opening in Pioneer Square, my illustrations mingling with established names. As we mingled, his hand on my lower back, pride swelling in his gaze, I believed in us. "This is just the beginning," he whispered, stealing a kiss amid the crowd. Seattle's pulse synced with ours, vibrant and alive. Yet, as we drove home, his phone lit with a text he silenced too quickly. I glimpsed the name, Marcus. An ex? He caught my glance, explained it away as a client. Trust, I told myself. But in the quiet of my apartment later, him asleep beside me, the seed of doubt took root, whispering of storms yet to come. The gallery buzz lingered like champagne fizz in my veins, but reality crashed back midweek, a freelance deadline forcing me to hole up in my studio. A converted garage behind a Queen and Victorian, canvases stacked like forgotten promises. Caleb texted throughout, "Miss your face. Dinner after?" I replied with a heart emoji, fingers smudged with charcoal, sketching him from memory, broad strokes for his shoulders, fine lines for the vulnerability in his smile. Love had unlocked something in me, colors bolder, lines freer. He arrived at 8, bearing Ty from our spot in the International District, kissing me hello against the doorframe until paint transferred to his collar. We ate cross-legged on the floor amid sketches, his stories of boardroom battles weaving with my rants on color theory. "You're brilliant," he said, tracing a drawing of intertwined hands. "We should collaborate. Your art, my firm's sustainability push." Imagine the impact. The idea sparked, us against the world, alphas and artists remaking Seattle one canvas at a time. Nights deepened our rhythm. Him cooking steak on his balcony grill, me strumming his old guitar, harmonies clumsy but true. One evening, post-love haze, he opened up about the scar, a bar fight in Missoula, defending a queer kid from frat boys during a college road trip. "I couldn't not step in," he said, tracing patterns on my chest. "That's you too, fighting quiet battles." I kissed the mark, honoring the protector beneath the polish. But the text from Marcus persisted, innocuous at first. Client update, Caleb dismissing them with a wave. I trusted, or tried to, until Jordan's warning over beers at Elliott Bay Book Company. "Alphas hoard secrets like dragons. Ask outright, or it'll eat you." I nodded, but confrontation felt like tempting fate. Instead, I poured it into art, a series of shadowed figures, one reaching, the other retreating. The breaking point came at a firm gala in South Lake Union, glass towers gleaming under chandeliers. Caleb in a tailored tux, me in a slim black suit he'd picked, nervous, underdressed among suits and whispers. He worked the room like a king, introducing me as my partner, the talent behind those viral eco posters. Pride swelled, but then Marcus appeared, mid-30s, polished blonde with a shark smile, clapping Caleb on the back too familiarly. "Boss, you sly dog, finally off the market?" Caleb laughed it off, arm around me tight, but Marcus's eyes lingered, appraising. Later, on the dance floor, slow sway to indie folk, Caleb's breath warmed my ear. Jealous. I admitted the twinge, and he spun me gently. Marcus's past tense. Ancient history. But as we exited, I overheard in the valet line. Marcus to a colleague. "Caleb's playing house now, but we both know how that ends." My stomach nodded. In the car, silence thickened until I cracked. "What's the history?" He sighed, merging onto 99. "We dated 2 years ago. Intense, but toxic. He cheated, I walked." That's it. Relief mixed with residue. But I let it go, waking next to him in sunlight, his proposal over breakfast. Weekend in Portland? Art walks, food carts, our thing. I agreed, packing light, heart light. The drive south was soundtrack of our playlist. Bon Iver crooning loss and love. And Portland welcomed us with rose gardens blooming defiant against autumn chill. We wandered Powell's city of books first, his hand in mine amid towering shelves, stealing kisses in poetry aisles. Dinner at a Pearl District bistro, oysters sharp as desire, his foot hooking mine under the table. Hotel room overlooking the Willamette, silk sheets, city hum below, and he undressed me slow, worshipping every inch, his alpha edge softened to tenderness. "You're my anchor, Ryan," he whispered, moving inside me with a rhythm that blurred pain and ecstasy. Dawn found us tangled, coffee on the balcony, planning futures, a joint exhibit, trips to the Badlands, maybe even meeting his folks on neutral ground. Back in Seattle, the high peaked with my big break, a gallery in Georgetown offering a solo show. Caleb celebrated with a rooftop party at his loft, Jordan DJing, Lena flying in with craft beers from Montana. Laughter echoed off bricks, bodies swaying to synth pop, his toast slurring slightly from whiskey. To Ryan, the man who crashed into me and stayed. Cheers rose, his kiss claiming, possessive in the best way. But amid the revelry, Marcus cornered me by the railing, breath sour. "Enjoy it while it lasts. Caleb Voss doesn't do forever, too much baggage." I shrugged him off, but the words burrowed. The next day, nursing hangovers over brunch at Le Pichet, Caleb seemed distant, phone buzzing incessantly. "Work," he muttered, but when he stepped away, I glimpsed the screen. "We need to talk. Soon." Heart sinking, I confronted him over crepes. "Marcus again?" His face closed. "It's nothing. Drop it." The alpha shield slammed down, and for the first time, his arms felt like bars, not haven. That night, alone in my studio, brush strokes turned furious, reds bleeding into blues, figures fracturing. Love's bloom wilted under suspicion's frost, and as rain lashed the windows, I wondered if I'd run from one disaster only to sprint into another's jaws. Suspicion festered like an untreated wound, sharpening every interaction into edges I couldn't ignore. Caleb noticed, of course, his alpha intuition attuned to my silences, and compensated with gestures, surprise lunches at my studio, a vintage Vespa helmet for our adventures. We rode it through Ballard one crisp afternoon, wind whipping as he navigated locks and drawbridges, my arms locked around his waist, pretending the vibration didn't echo the tremor in my chest. But the Marcus shadow loomed. Late one evening, post-rehearsal for my exhibit, he'd volunteered to hang frames, muscles flexing under gallery lights. I found his phone on the kitchen island, screen aglow. "Miss those nights. When's your boy out of town?" Heart in throat, I backed away, but guilt gnawed. Snooping was betrayal's cousin. When he returned from the shower, towel low on hips, I blurted, "We need to talk about Marcus." His eyes darkened, water dripping from curls. "What about him?" The argument erupted soft at first, words like embers. I laid out the texts, the whispers, my fear of history repeating. He paced, jaw grinding. "He's manipulating you, trying to sabotage us because I left him broken." Passion flared, his voice rising, mine cracking with hurt. "Then block him. Show me I'm not just a rebound." He stopped, cupping my face, eyes stormy. "You're everything. But trust goes both ways." We collided then, angry kisses bruising to desperate, bodies slamming together on the rug, raw, reclaiming, his dominance a plea for absolution. "Only you," he growled, pinning my wrists, and in the haze of release, I believed him. Truce held through exhibit prep, his support unwavering, sourcing frames from a Fremont artisan, modeling for a portrait that captured his quiet intensity. Opening night at the Georgetown Gallery, lofts converted to white walls humming with chatter, marked our pinnacle. Patrons swirled, sipping Pinot, praising my storm-tossed lovers, evocative, haunting. Caleb hovered proud, hand on my back, whispering, "You did this." Us. Lena arrived with her partner, a soft-spoken chef named Theo, toasting with craft IPAs. Even Jordan brought a date, the room alive with Seattle's eclectic pulse, tattooed artists, tech bros in ironic tees, queers owning the space unapologetically. Post-party glow carried us to an after-hours dive in Pioneer Square, jazz threading smoke-hazed air. Tipsy on old fashions, Caleb pulled me onto the floor, slow dancing cheek to cheek amid couples. "Marry me," he murmured, half joke, half prayer. I laughed, heart soaring. In a heartbeat. But as we swayed, Marcus entered, like a specter, suit rumpled, eyes locking on Caleb with predatory gleam. He approached, clapping shoulders. Voss, celebrating the pretty artist. Caleb stiffened, arm tightening around me. "What do you want?" Marcus smirked. "Just congrats." And a word, privately. Tension crackled. I excused myself to the bar, eavesdropping fragments. "The merger. Your signature." "Old-time sake." They vanished into the back alley for air. Returning minutes later, Caleb flushed, Marcus smug. In the cab home, silence choked us. "What was that?" I demanded. He rubbed his temple. "Business. He's on the deal team. Leverage." Lies layered thick, I tasted them. That night, sex was mechanical, his touches rote, my responses hollow. Morning brought coffee and apologies. "It's stress. The firm's riding me." I nodded, but distance yawned. Betrayal crystallized a week later, during a solo trip to Olympia for a client meet. I'd left my laptop open, innocent, or so I thought, email thread with Jordan spilling insecurities. But when I returned early, finding Caleb in my studio, rifling drawers. "What the hell?" He startled, papers fluttering, my sketches of us, mingled with notes on Marcus' suspicions. "I was looking for inspiration. For you." Panic laced his lie. I saw the phone clutched behind his back. Rage boiled over. "You're spying? After I trusted you." He reached, placating. Listen, but I shoved him away, voice breaking. "Get out." He lingered, eyes pleading. The alpha cracked, vulnerable. "I love you. Don't throw us away." Door slammed. Sobs racked me on the floor, canvases mocking my shattered illusions. Days blurred in isolation. Jordan force-feeding takeout. Lena calling from Montana with tough love. Fight for truth, not shadows. I confronted Marcus via text, desperate, direct. "What's your game?" His reply chilled. "Ask Caleb about the cabin." Portland wasn't our first. Photos attached. Him and Caleb, entangled in sheets, time-stamped months ago. Portland, our romantic escape? Stolen from an ex's revenge? Devastated, I drove to Caleb's loft unannounced, pounding the door until he opened, disheveled in sweats. "You lied." I choked, thrusting the phone. His face drained. "It's not," but evidence screamed. He pulled me inside, collapsing onto the couch, head in hands. Marcus. He was my escape after a bad quarter. One night, before us. I ended it. But dates blurred. Portland's hotel reservation in my name. Charged to his card. Had he been with Marcus there? Post our first time? Accusations flew. Was I the fool, crashing into your arms while you chased ghosts? He wept then, raw, unalpha tears, clutching my hands. "No, you saved me." But I panicked, hid to protect this. Protect? Or preserve his web? I wrenched free, fleeing into the night, Seattle's lights blurring through tears. Love's alpha had claws, and they'd shredded my heart. The crash landing from paradise left bruises no makeup could hide. Dark circles under my eyes. Appetite vanished. Studio a tomb of half-finished works. Jordan staged an intervention at his Wallingford bungalow, piling me with blankets and bad rom-coms. "Cry it out, then burn his jerseys," he urged, referencing the Huskies T. Caleb had gifted. I didn't burn. I folded them away, a masochistic talisman, replaying our last fight. His tears, my flight. The doors echo like finality. No contact rule held 3 days, a torture of deleted drafts and midnight scrolls through old photos. Us at Alki Beach, sunset gilding his smile. On day 4, Lena called, voice thick across the line. He's a mess, Ryan. Hold up, canceling meetings. But you're both hurting. Talk before regret cements. Her words pierced. I agreed to meet, neutral ground, a coffee shop in Fremont, under the Lenin statue's ironic gaze. He arrived early, hollow-cheeked in hoodie and jeans, the alpha diminished. We ordered, black for him, latte for me, and sat at a corner table, steam curling like unspoken pleas. I'm sorry, he started, hands fidgeting. For hiding. For letting Marcus burrow in. Truth unspooled. The merger was dirty, Marcus holding leverage from their past. A fabricated affair rumor that could tank clients if leaked. I met him in Portland to negotiate, not anything else. Swear it. Photos. Doctored. Time to wound. Evidence piled. Hotel logs. Alibis from Theo, who'd covered their business dinner. Relief warred with residue. I wanted to believe, but trust's fracture lingered. Why not tell me? We were partners. His eyes, red-rimmed, met mine. Fear. Of losing you. I'm used to fixing alone, the Voss way. Vulnerability cracked his shell, stories of Montana childhood. Father's ranch stoicism masking depression, mother's quiet enabling. I became the fixer, the alpha no one sees break. Tears welled. I brushed them away, thumb lingering. I'm not them. Let me in. Reconciliation brewed slow, tentative coffees evolving to walks along the locks, salmon leaping as metaphors for persistence. Sex returned hesitant, exploratory, my apartment this time, his hands trembling as he undressed me, apologies in every kiss. Never again, he vowed, moving with a gentleness that rebuilt bridges. But shadows clung, anonymous emails trickled. He's using you, Marcus's ghost, perhaps, or my paranoia. Crisis peaked at Lena's holiday gathering, flying us to Montana's Bitterroot Valley. Snow blanketed the ranch, evergreens heavy, families sprawling in the log house, aunts with pies, cousins wrangling kids. Caleb's parents, stoic ranchers, weathered by wind and loss, eyed me wary at first. Artist, his dad grunted over turkey, but softened when I sketched their border collie mid-fetch. Dinner toasts veered personal. His mom, eyes misty. Caleb's always protected us. Glad he found someone to protect him back. Post-feast bonfire, under star-pricked sky, Caleb pulled me aside to the barn, hay-scented shadows. This is home, but you're my future. Ring box appeared, simple silver band, engraved anchor, proposal on one knee in muck. Marry me, Ree. For real. Joy surged, yes, tumbling free, kisses sealing amid whinnies and frost. But as we rejoined, his phone vibrated. Marcus. See you in court. Leverage drops tomorrow. Back in Seattle, the bomb detonated. Leaked emails, fabricated, painting Caleb as unethical in the merger. Firm suspended him pending investigation. Headlines in the PI screamed finance was in scandal. Reporters camped my building, flashes blinding. Caleb holed in the loft, pacing like a caged wolf. It's him, Marcus, burning bridges to force me back. I rallied, lawyered up with Jordan's firm contact, countering with proofs. But stress eroded us. Nights sleepless, his touches desperate, mine soothing but strained. Climax shattered one storm-lashed evening. I returned from a supply run to find him shattered on the floor, bottle empty. Marcus's latest missive open. Video clip, grainy but damning. Caleb, drunk post-breakup months ago, in a tryst not with Marcus, but a stranger, slurring self-loathing. See? He's broken goods. Caleb looked up, wrecked. I was lost then, before you. But the image seared, my alpha, vulnerable, human in ways I'd ignored. Betrayal reversed, not his on me, but mine in doubting his growth. We can't build on ruins, I whispered, backing away. He reached, broken. Fight with me. Tears streamed. I fled to Jordan's, rain biblical, soul adrift. Seattle's neon mocked, love's harbor capsized in crisis's gale. Exile at Jordan's felt like limbo. His guest room a cocoon of throw pillows and tough love pep talks, but sleep evaded, dreams replaying the video's blur, Caleb's haunted eyes pleading across distances I'd imposed. Days dragged, freelance gigs abandoned, phone silence to voicemails from Lena, he's fighting. For you. Ignored calls from unknown numbers, press vultures. Jordan dragged me out for hikes in Discovery Park, salt air scouring lungs, but every trail evoked Caleb's laugh, every overlook our picnic's ghost. Week 2, resolve cracked. A package arrived. My sketchbook, returned with a note in his scrawl. These are us. Don't let him erase them. Pages flipped to our intertwined figures, annotated in margins. Your strength here, my safe harbor. Heart twisting, I drove to the loft unannounced. He'd left under Matta's silent invitation. Inside, chaos reigned. Takeout boxes, unopened mail, his alpha frame slumped on the couch, unshaven, eyes hollow. He startled, hope flickering. No accusations. I crossed, kneeling, hands framing his face. We talk. All of it. Hours poured. The video's context, a rock-bottom night after Marcus's first betrayal, anonymous hookup as self-punishment. I hated myself enough to numb it. Merger mess? Marcus's vendetta, lawsuit filed, but Caleb's counter, for defamation, gaining traction. I shielded you because alphas don't fail. But I did. Spectacularly. Vulnerability bonded us anew, tears mingling as I held him. You're not a failure. You're human. That night, we rebuilt tentative, showers shared, bodies reconnecting slow, his touches worshipful, mine forgiving. Stay, he whispered, and I did, waking to sunlight on tangled limbs. Healing's path wound rocky. Therapy joined our arsenal, couple sessions in a Belltown office, unpacking Montana scars, my abandonment fears from a nomadic childhood, Dad's Navy postings. Individual work too. Caleb journaling ranch reflections, me painting abstracts of fracture and mend, blues bleeding to golds. Public storm raged, Scandal Rock's finance scene, but we faced it united, statement joint. False accusations, truth prevails. Marcus's reckoning came swift. Deposition exposed his forgeries, firm dropping him like dead weight. Lawsuit settled out of court, his apology email curt. I was wrong. Move on. Caleb deleted it unread, choosing closure over vengeance. For us, he said, framing my exhibit poster beside his desk. Spring thawed Seattle, mirroring our thaw. We volunteered at a queer youth center in Capitol Hill, Caleb mentoring on resilience, me leading art workshops, kids' eyes lighting like his once did. One evening, post-session, a teen confided his crush's rejection. Caleb knelt, earnest. Love's not linear. It crashes, breaks, rebuilds stronger. Watching, pride swelled, my alpha evolved. Yet crisis echoed in quieter doubts, a nightmare where he vanished into Montana's snow, leaving me adrift. Mornings after, he'd hold me tighter, murmuring mantras. Anchored. Always. We planned escapes. Weekend in the San Juans, kayaking emerald waters, his proposal ring glinting on my finger, wedding set for summer, small, on Lena's lakeside. Betrayal scar faded to lesson, teaching boundaries. Weekly check-ins, no secrets packs. Romance reignited playful, impromptu dances in the kitchen to Al Green, his hands on my hips spinning me breathless. Sex deepened, exploratory. Toys from a discreet U-District shop, his dominance yielding to my leads, trust dance fluid. One golden afternoon, sketching him napping on the balcony, chest rising steady, scar silver in light. I realized, crisis hadn't destroyed. It distilled us, love purified through fire. But as pen scratched, his phone buzzed. Dad's number. Ranch emergency. Mom's fall. Panic flashed. He booked a flight, pulling me close. Come? Meet them proper. Heart pounding. Family gauntlet. I nodded. Montana called. Healing's next chapter. Airplane descent over snow-capped peaks stirred nerves, but his hand and mine steadied. Ranch awaited. Sprawling acres, collies bounding, parents on the porch, Dad gruff but teary hugging, Mom bandaged but beaming. Heard you saved our boy, she said, pressing pie into my hands. Evenings by hearth, stories wove. Grandpa's queer hidden letters unearthed in the attic, a legacy of quiet courage. Caleb's eyes met mine across the fire, grateful, whole. Return to Seattle renewed, exhibit sequel booked, his firm reinstatement with promotions. Love's alpha wasn't conqueror alone, but partner, vulnerable, vast. Yet in quiet, I traced his scars, wondering if storms ever truly end, or if healing's the art of dancing in rain. Summer wedding dawned hazy over Lake Crescent, mists rising like blessings from the water's mirror surface. Lena's eco-lodge transformed, wildflower arches framing the dock, guests in linen and boots, Jordan officiating in rainbow bow tie, Theo grilling salmon shoreside. I stood in the cabin, mirror reflecting a man remade. Slim tucks in soft gray, ring catching light, eyes clear of shadows. Caleb waited below, his suit charcoal, boutonniere pine sprig, alpha poised, but gaze soft with awe. Vows exchanged at water's edge, waves lapping gentle. I crashed into you. I began, voice steady, and found home. Through storms and silences, you taught me love's not possession, but presence. His turn cracked emotion. You saw the man behind the shield, Ryan. In your arms. I'm free. Alpha no more, just yours. Ring slid on. Kiss sealing amid cheers. Fairies horn saluting distant. Reception spilled laughter. Toast roasting our rainy meat cute. Dances under strung bulbs to the Nationals' egg-sweet anthems. Honeymoon whispered in the San Juans. Cottage on Orcas Island. Trails to peaks overlooking Salish Sea. Days kayaking coves, spotting orcas breaching like omens of grace. Nights on porch swings, stars wheeling overhead, his head on my lap as I read poetry. Whitman's odes to comrades, love's democratic fire. This is enough, he murmured one twilight, fingers tracing my knee. You, me, the wild. Intimacy unfolded lazy. Morning lights slanting bodies, explorations tender, laughter punctuating gasps, trust's fruit, ripe and shared. Return grounded us in rhythm refined. My studio expanded, shared space in his loft, walls alive with joint projects, murals for the youth center, his finance-savvy funding queer artist grants. Caleb's promotion brought balance, remote days for ranch visits, me tagging along, sketching sunsets over hayfields. Family wove tighter, holiday dinners in Montana, my parents video calling from Virginia, bridges built across miles. But life's undercurrent tugged, subtle at first. A gallery offer in New York, tempting with prestige but pulling at roots. Go, he urged over diner pancakes. Chase it. We'll bridge the gap. Doubt flickered, echoes of past fractures. But we navigated open. Weekend flights, daily calls. Love's elasticity tested and true. His own curve. Firm expansion to Portland. Overnights that tested patience, but check-ins anchored. Thinking of your eyes texts. Voice notes husky with missing. Crisis revisited in autumn's guise. My diagnosis, low-grade anxiety, therapy prescribed after sleepless spirals. Caleb attended sessions, hand in mine as I unpacked boyhood nomad fears. Love's intensity amplifying old voids. I'm here, he'd affirm post-session, brewing tea in our kitchen, now ours, merged lives in Belltown's pulse. His vulnerability mirrored, panic attacks from merger scars, breathing exercises shared on the balcony. Puget Sound's vastness reminding smallness yields strength. Humanity's depth revealed in periphery, volunteering deepened, center kids confiding. Caleb mentoring a teen outed by family, me illustrating their stories into zines. One boy's sketch, inspired by mine. Two figures in rain, arms entwined. Like you guys, he shied. Pride swelled. We'd become beacon, alpha and artist illuminating paths. Winter solstice brought reflection. Bonfire at Lena's, circle sharing gratitudes. Caleb's turn. Ryan, my crash, my calm. You humanized me. Mine, love's not escape, but embrace. Of flaws, fights, futures. Snow fell soft, sealing truths. Spring bloomed adoption talks. Fostering a queer teen, paperwork mountains, but hearts open. Early hurdles. Home studies probing pasts. Our scars laid bare. Worthy? Doubt whispered one night, his arms tightening. More than. Together. Approval came, kid arriving summer, nerves electric, love expanding. Years folded. Anniversaries in Seattle rain, recreating that collision with staged runs into embraces, laughter echoing. Gallery in NYC, taken, with satellite shows here, his firm. Regional hub, us commuting seamless. Montana visits ritual, riding horses at dawn, my sketches capturing his silhouette against peaks, eternal alpha, my eternal. One eve, porch swing creaking, teen, now ours, named Alex, asleep inside, Caleb's head on my shoulder. Regrets, he asked, voice rumble. I kissed his temple. None. You crashed into me, and we built this, flawed, fierce, full. Stars wheeled, city hummed distant, love story no fairy tale, but human hymn. Crashing, healing, holding through tempests to tranquil shores. In each other's arms, we'd found not perfection, but profundity, the quiet valor of choosing, daily, deeply.